Kia ora, I'm Ian Harvey, founder of Collective Intelligence, and this is Stuff That Matters Now. Now mai hoki mai everyone. Today's voice is Viv Conway. Viv is a Koro Scholarship recipient of ours, a very talented woman, a wonderful communicator. I'm fascinated to see how we go with this. This is new territory for me. Viv is empowering women through her wonderful business, Girls Get Off. She is a co-founder of that. I'm a little nervous going into this conversation. It is uncharted territory for me, so wish me luck as we talk about Viv's business, which is empowering women one orgasm at a time with her very unique and very fresh, I think, business. So I'm nervous, excited, wish me luck. Welcome back, everybody. I am sitting down here in Mount Maunganui. I'm with Viv co-founder. I'm with Viv Conway. Hello, Viv co-founder Conway. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much for having me today, Harv. I'm very excited for your left field questions today. I don't think I will have ever experienced a podcast like yours before.
Mate, let's give it a go. I am excited. I have been stuck in roadworks trying to get here today. I'm an hour late. I'm going to settle into this. Viv is the co-founder of Girls Get Off, which is a really interesting business. I'm really nervous about today. I am, because I don't want to make a total ass of myself in this interview, but I'm intrigued as to where this is going to go, and let's see where it does. So, okay, let's just launch straight into it. Viv, tell me about Girls Get Off. What is it?
What is it? So we exist to normalise female pleasure. That's our mission.
Yep.
I can start at the beginning if you like, because I feel like that gives everyone a bit of context around where we kind of came from. So Joe, my co-founder, and I, we decided we wanted to work together. We had separate businesses previously, and we'd been looking at different options of what is it that we want to do. Where are some opportunities in the market? And at the time, there's another toy called the Satisfier Pro, and that was really trending. And we realised that actually, hold on a second here, the only reason people are buying these sex toys is because A, their friends have told them about it, or B, they've seen a viral review and it's been on the radio or it's been online, or in Amazon it was happening with Amazon reviews that were going viral. And it was like, actually, if you look at every other product that women buy, why is it that no one's marketing sex toys in the same way that they would skincare? It's still a bit weird. And actually, even if I want to go online and go, okay, I'm ready, I'm going to buy my first vibrator, I go online, or I have to go in store, and that's like a bit weird and gross. It doesn't really make you feel super comfortable. Or you go online and you click toys for her, and there might be 800 different types, and there's toys called the Dong Blaster 3000 and things that don't make you feel like, super normal and like welcoming. Or maybe it's next to some really, like, there's a sex toy locally, and I remember walking in for some product research, and you walk in the back entrance straight into a sex swing, and I'm like, if I'm just trying to buy my first vibrator, how is this supposed to make me feel like I'm doing this like non-weird, super approachable, normal thing, right? So as the more we do, initially we found this this opportunity in the market, and both being quite passionate about women empowerment, we initially found, okay, there's this really big opportunity, but also we realised that the marketing was all wrong for women. It was all...
And we've got a little dog here, haven't we, that's gnawing away, because I'm picking up the noise at the back, and I thought this could seem weird with us. Yeah. So the noise in the background, little dog chewing.
I think she's chewing a vibrator. Funny.
This is...
Oh, no, it's a ping pong ball. It's okay.
Okay. going, so we've got a little gnawing.
Yeah.
Okay, so just putting it out there, it's a little dog,
Yeah.
not chewing on a vibrator, it's chewing on a ping pong. So that's good.
That's
okay.
good.
So you guys wanted to work together with this woman empowerment thing.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
It is. I think we initially went into this quite business focused, going, this is a real opportunity here. But it was we very quickly found out that for the both of us, and I think for me personally, I realized I was like, actually this kind of for the girls, helping women feel confident about themselves, helping feel women empowered to ask for what they want has actually been something that has been underlying probably my whole life. I think, I was one of the only female lifeguards along the stretch of beach because you had to work a little bit harder to be just as fast and just as efficient and get everything right. So there's been elements of that pushing for equality and so on that have been all throughout my life. And then it's been cool to have this experience and realize that that's actually a huge passion of mine and Joe's. So it's kind of initially started as a business opportunity, but then quickly realized that actually this is a huge passion of ours, and it's all come together really nicely.
And we're 2 days before International Women's Day.
We are.
And I have got an interview on that day.
Yes.
With Anita Perkins talking about equality, talking about equal pay, all that stuff. It's just outrageous that in 2023 we're still talking about this because it's still a thing, right?
Yeah, and I think as well, always, I never really noticed it. Like I was always just working to be as competitive as all the other people around me. I actually feel like growing up having done a lot of swimming, which is a sport where it doesn't really matter. I don't think do you want me to get her to stop chewing? Can you hear that?
Be good.
Oh.
Shall we try? Shall I
Sorry.
pause it? Shall I pause it?
Pause
okay.
it.
Okay. We're back. We've sorted the little dog out. We're back. Okay.
Where was I? I think
with the swimming.
Yeah, I think my experiences there where it actually didn't matter what gender you were, it was more down to a little bit of genetics, but also how much you trained, you really get out what you put in with swimming. So I didn't notice, I guess I just didn't notice the differences so much. And then I think having been working for myself for a long time, I also haven't really noticed as much as, say, someone in a corporate environment. But then recently, learning more about it and understanding, like literally yesterday looked at the top 100 young entrepreneurs in Australia. They put out a list. I would say, I thought, oh great, I'll scroll through this list. There'll be people I can connect with on LinkedIn, like surely there's people doing similar things. There must have been less than 10 women. Like that would be generous. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sometimes shut off to how in mainstream environments the impact of not having those role models and like not showcasing that. I think it has a bigger flow-on effect. And I think in that situation, like it was a lot of people who had raised money, and I think we know the stats around like VC investment into like women-founded businesses. So there's a lot of factors that play into that. And I think the flow-on effects are huge of people seeing people like them doing similar things, paving the path.
So when did Girls Get Off start?
We'll be 2 years old next month, April.
So it's a COVID business.
It is a COVID business.
Right. Okay. So the two of you, so the thing is that you've latched on to this angle around women's sexual liberation, is that?
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, I got that right.
Yeah.
That was a guess.
That's a good one.
Okay. So, and women asking for what they want.
Yeah. I think that term there really speaks volumes for what our audience is kind of looking for, you know?
So you're focused on sexual liberation, but it could morph into a whole lot of other areas.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. And look, I'm just sitting here, I'm loving sitting here and I'm looking around and your whiteboard or stuff at the back there, and I'm just going, it is just the most wonderful array of stuff on your board that I haven't seen anywhere else. It's just going, this is just stunning. Yeah. Anyway, so we've got from the PTA all the way through to wild mums night strippers.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
It's very chaotic, and that's what I mean. This is my world, right? So then I see lists like the top 100, young entrepreneurs, and I'm like, oh, that's right. We've still got ages to go, So I'm fully immersed in, what people are doing right now in this world. But it's different for everyone.
Welcome to my world. Viv, this morning I was talking to a demolition company and the man or two, and just, saying to them, like 55% of our members are female. And this young guy's going, huh? Like, what? Really? Going, it's a thing, bro. It's catch up, There's women everywhere and they're doing stuff, Fuck, I think there might have even been a prime minister we had was female. Not sure. Okay, so 2 years ago, what happened?
Well, it was actually 3 years ago. Joe and I, it would have been 2020, because that was our first lockdown.
I was going to say 2020 and not much else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the end of the first lockdown in New Zealand. I was having some socially distanced pink gins on Joe's driveway.
Yep.
And we'd talked already about what business are we going to do together. And we'd done some research. We actually initially wanted to do cask wine. We wanted to overturn that market and go and do well-branded alcohol. Lucky we didn't try and compete cask wine with Pals because they launched a few months later.
Just to let you know, if you'd gone down the cask wine thing, we wouldn't be talking now. That sounds as boring as fuck, all right? So I'm pleased you went this way. Okay.
To make it not boring, not boring. Different marketing. Exactly. You think it's boring, I think great value for money. Anyway,
okay.
And Joe said to me, what about sex toys? And I was like, okay, that's really interesting. And she said, well, and as for the reasons I've mentioned earlier, she said, well, the Satisfy Pro is going wild, but it looks ugly. She's like, it looks weird. No one's even marketing it properly. It's all still so gross. So people want the product, but it's still not approachable, and they're still doing it in a kind of hidden way.
Okay.
And then it took us probably a year to plan. So it took us a year to find a good supplier. We had a couple of goes with that. We wanted to find the right kind of product. We went through a few sort of iterations, making sure the packaging was nice because we knew that this had to be a really good customer experience. We wanted this to have a good price but feel really luxurious because it was like a gesture of self-care for the purchaser.
Gesture of self-care.
Gesture of self-care.
Mate, that's a handful, but it sounds like I'm going, yeah, okay. And so you were importing stuff?
Yeah.
And you're trying different stuff?
Yeah.
And you're finding out, because from the outside, it looks like you guys lucked it with the product, your first product.
We actually looked at what people were doing overseas as well. So there was another brand selling a similar toy, and we went, but they're selling it in a like cardboard box that's got like plastic on it, and it just doesn't look. So we thought, look at what they've done. They've literally validated a similar product, but we know we can market better.
Right.
Yeah. So it was also about, a bit of R&D, rip off and duplicate. Isn't that what that means?
Don't know. I didn't go to university, mate.
So we did it. It was a mixture of testing what's working, but also like figuring out what people are already being educated around, what are the toys that they're already starting to buy. Because if you can jump on that at the same time, then that works. And we only got 500 to start. We thought, let's just get 500. Worst comes to worst, we're going to have 500 vibrators in Joe's garage.
And a whole lot of friends.
And a whole lot of friends, exactly.
Yep.
So it was like, let's do the minimum viable product. What do we need to do at the very minimum to make sure that this can work? And then we can go from there.
Yep. And then what happened?
And it went really well. I think we must have done some teasing on social media of like, even just in our network, like we'd told people about what we were going to do, and we put the website live on a Friday night just to check all the bugs and stuff. And I think we got 10 orders, and I was like, oh my God, you don't ever get 10 orders on a website when you turn it live to check the bugs. And I think we ordered more stock on the Monday because we realised that if 10 people have already ordered from the minimal social media teaser posts that we've done over the last, couple of weeks, and we haven't even told anyone it's live, then like we're definitely onto something. Yeah.
And then when did the feedback start coming in?
It would have been from the get-go. And I think because we had one of our things, because we knew as well, doing, as I've mentioned, those viral reviews, we knew that if we can make it relatable and get that like fun content out of people, and we can show that to people and create that culture amongst our community of people sitting in their funny reviews, then that's going to be great. And like that still continues. So our marketing is quite fun and relatable. We literally had someone DM us today saying that they had their lube and they went to find their lube and they couldn't find it, not in the bathroom, not in the bedside table, and she found it in her 12-year-old daughter's makeup box because she thought it was like a face mask. So she's like, oh, at least her skin will be well hydrated. So like we've created this space where people send us the funniest stories and we're able to share them. Yeah, so the feedback started quite early and it's just like snowballed really. We always get funny reviews and messages. It's so hilarious.
Viv, you and I 12 months ago, we did the online thing when Omicron came in and we couldn't run the teams, and we did that conference, and yours was one. We did a wee section, and what was interesting, I think only one woman turned up. It was the smallest gig we did. And woman said afterwards, but it was the most watched video that we had. And woman said, I wanted to come to it, but I didn't want my kids or anybody to know that I was there, right? It was hilarious.
Oh, classic. Yeah, because you can see the names and so on.
Because it was everybody's names and stuff like that. But you told a story about a woman using your vibrator. It was in the shower. Do you remember that story?
Oh, there's been a lot of stories, Harv.
Okay, so recount one. It might not be the same one. It doesn't matter.
Well, it might have been me testing the new toy. God.
No, it was before the new toy.
Oh,
and she just talked about the pleasure she was using in the shower and the sheer pleasure she got.
Was it the one who said that we should win the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's a backstory to that, but I'll tell the main story. We had this review. It was so long, and she just talked about how the clip was created for the sole purpose of pleasure, and you ladies should be. She was in the shower, wasn't she? Yeah, that was hilarious. But she ended up being a relationship and sex therapist, and she promotes it to the couples that she works with, and she's been on our podcast before. She was like, this is the best thing ever. It's so easy to use, it's like super approachable, and it's not weird. Yeah, that's right. That was a great review. I wish I had it on hand so I could read it to you and give you context.
Without putting words in your mouth, she talked about she thought her uterus was going to drop out the floor.
Yeah.
It was like,
yeah, it was like a real. It was she mentioned Jesus. She definitely mentioned Jesus. Yeah.
So Viv, the first you put out the first product.
Yeah.
Right, and so you sold squillions of those.
Yeah, I think we've sold over 18 or 19,000 to date.
In New Zealand, or
probably 90% New Zealand. Yeah.
Right. So lots of happy customers.
Plenty of happy customers.
Yeah. Do you know if these were first-time buyers of a sex toy?
Interestingly, it's interesting you asked that, because when we, initially were saying we think this is going to be our target customer, we've made some estimates. We actually found that when we ask people on our stories, so we can put up when we post Instagram stories, we can do things like interactive polls, and we've asked multiple times, have you used a sex toy before? And actually half of the people have. So it's actually about 50-50. We initially thought, okay, we're going to be marketing to people who have never used a sex toy before. This will be their first thing. And look, there are absolutely a huge part of our market there is, but like I say, it's about 50-50. So a lot of people might have tried something here and there, but it just depends. And
I said to you before we started, I've got friends and family that have used your first vibrator, and they go, yeah, it's the shit. It's classic.
And it's different. It's different from a normal vibrator. It's like a pulsing technology, so it's supposed to feel more like oral sex.
Right.
Yeah.
And so people really, the feedback was like, this thing is wicked, right?
Yeah.
And so then you've gone and developed your own product.
Yeah, so we had the Missy Mini to start, and that was, like I say, it was like, let's get out there, let's just test this, and we'll see how it goes. We'll just see what happens. And once that obviously worked, we went through actually a very extremely long process, but we now basically have our own custom toys. Yeah. And yeah, it was a very interesting process. It was, we initially thought, let's outsource this. We can outsource this. We can't get to China, so let's, use some people or like sourcing agents who already work with different brands. And so where we had intended to bring out a new toy in November of 2020, we must have launched 2021. We wanted to bring out a second toy November 2021. It wasn't until last September that we launched our new toy. So we probably had I would say 6 to 8 months of dead time when we realised that by February we found out that they hadn't actually been doing and making the progress that they kind of had said they had been. And having already sourced products ourselves before, we thought, okay, it's time to just cut our losses and go for it ourselves. So that was a very, very big learning curve, but we got there in the end.
And you pre-sold. So what's your second product called?
Our second product is Tiff. So
Yep.
she's where Missy is just an external vibrator. It's got the pulsing vacuum function on one end. Tiff is internal. So it's internal and external. So it's kind of a U shape, and it's half of it is like Missy, and then the other half is internal, and it's just vibrates.
Yep.
And you can use either arm separately. It's really flexible. And we had, because we knew we had built such a good community, we wanted to really build hype around the new toy Tiff. And we knew that if we could do it in a way, if we were going to do pre-sales anyway, we may as well try and do something dramatic to get some press out of it. And we thought, okay, what can we do? We really like being, one of the things we want to be really good at is about our customer intimacy. So we want customers to feel like they are part of the community. They, send us their reviews, but we also want to do things to kind of surprise and delight them. So we sent out a physical mail to every one of our previous customers, and we kept it quite secretive. It wasn't in a pink envelope or anything. It was just nondescript, and we sent out to however many thousand people, saying that they had access to the secret pre-sale, so they were able to know about the pre-sale before anyone else, and purchase that online, which was quite cool to do. We obviously got mixed feedback. I think we had in some ways it went really well. People were posting it on their stories, and then other ways it was a really big learning curve for us, because I think we had one person have a PA open it at work or something and didn't feel super comfortable about that. It was oh God, overlooked that one. So, and we expected a little bit of that, but and in doing that, yeah, we sold close to 1,000 before we even launched, which was really great. And because it was a secret pre-sale, we didn't even show them what the product was going to be. So we said, this is going to be our new product. And because we knew we had built up the brand loyalty, we thought, do we reckon we can sell these without even showing them what it is? And then we launched that with a launch party in Australia last year in September, October, whatever it was.
So with one product in a very short time, you'd already built up some brand loyalty and trust and so forth.
Totally, yeah. And we spend a lot of time on our social media entertaining people. I guess if you think about your traditional marketing funnel, we've got a lot of people sitting in that that nurture phase constantly. In fact, to a point where we're okay guys, all we're doing is entertaining people who've already bought from us. We need to kind of, keep pouring more people into the top of the funnel. But yeah, by doing that, it does mean that we have people. We had Maya and Dispatch the other day say this, we've had someone else, she's literally bought everything that you sell. And that's not uncommon, which is really cool. And I think that's what sets us apart from other brands, is our community. No other sexual wellness brand has customers who support each other like ours do, not just in terms of sending in funny reviews, but also on our Facebook group where people can ask anonymous questions and support each other and give feedback and things like that. So yeah, that's certainly something that sets us apart in a market where anyone can kind of come up with different butt plugs, which are sitting to my right on the table.
I wasn't going to mention that. This is the first podcast interview I've done where I'm looking directly at butt plugs, Viv. That's, but I wasn't going to say that. And there's quite an assortment there.
There is quite an assortment here. We wanted some samples and we've been sent the full range. We've put it that way. This one there's all different shapes and sizes, and
I think that one there you could work out with at the gym.
I think that looks like a doorknob. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not going to make look. The thing that I was not going to do, and this is say anything inappropriate. So far so good. Viv, what have you learnt since starting this business? What's been the biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise has been understanding that I feel like you don't really know things until you experience them. Like there's a difference between knowing something theoretically and then actually like seeing the results for yourself. And I think in other businesses that I've had that have, gone okay and that's like, earned a living, there's been a huge difference between that and then this business where we are so clear on the problem that our customers have and then so clearly delivering on that problem,
what's the problem?
So basic, is that people are curious about these products. Like people are curious around like, well, maybe can experience some more pleasure here. And maybe they don't know that that's a problem that they have yet until we market it to them. But as soon as we get that curiosity and we can deliver our product in a way that is approachable and not intimidating, then that has just made it so easy. Not so easy, we still have to work very hard and be creative, but it just goes to show when it's super simple and we also don't have to explain it as much as, say, like a service business I've had before, because people understand what sex and orgasms are. So that has certainly made it a lot easier as well than, say, if I was selling like an information-based product online, I'd have to market in a slightly different way.
So you didn't quite answer my question. What is the problem?
What is the problem? Our audience wants to experience more pleasure.
So not having enough pleasure is a problem.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Our target customer is like late 30s, and we find that they want to, late 30s in a relationship, a couple of young kids, and we find that they normally want to mix things up a bit. They want to spice up their life. Yeah.
So getting a bit stale. And they want to rekindle that pleasure.
Yeah.
And that's your target, is to help them achieve that.
Yeah. And often they won't even they might not have even considered it until they're having wines with friends and they're talking about this new toy that they've seen, or someone shows them one of our confessions or something, and then it starts a conversation. Yeah.
From me, looking from the outside, what I like is that this is all about the female. Where if you look at some of the sex shops, for instance, that looks like a male's interpretation of what woman would want.
Yeah, well, who do you think named the Dong Blaster 3000 or whatever they're called?
Well, that's a fucking wicked name, mate. I'm going to go and get one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but it
sounds like a piece of equipment, and,
What's it called? What is it?
The Dong Blaster 3000. There'd be that many. Like, what else? There's so many. My gosh.
That sounds like a lawnmower or something.
Oh, I know. I'm like, really?
Bruce, we'll go and get one of these. Yeah. So because that's the thing that I, from the outside looking in, it looks very, very feminine.
Yeah.
It also looks as though you're targeting, how do I say this without being a knob, educated woman.
Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it like that before.
I could have just dug a great big hole for myself there. But looking from the outside, and I'll rephrase that, it looks a very elegant, sophisticated brand. Yeah.
Well, when we started it, we were like, we want this to be as normal as buying skincare. We want this for your toys, for like our lube is literally the perfect example. We chose something that was similar to skincare, because we're like, who wants to put a dildo-shaped lube thing in their trolley from like Pack and Save. Like, I don't want that. you
Yeah.
know, it's like, no. I'm like, but I would put a nice pink thing in a nice box in my trolley.
Yeah. Yeah. What have you learnt about... So we've learned about that. What have you learned about women? Like, what's the... It's a different question that I was trying to ask before. Yeah, what have you learned about women and women's bodies and so forth?
I think I have learned women and women's bodies. I think what I've learned, which is probably obvious once you look at it, you know, I think that women don't ask for what they want enough because they don't know what they don't know. And actually, you're not like masturbating next to your mate and saying,
Am I doing
"Oh,
it
what are you
right?"
doing? Yeah, you're doing it right." When we first started this business, we were having a conversation, and one of my best friends said, "What do you mean you masturbate?" And I said, "What do you mean you don't masturbate? How did you make it through university? Aren't you stressed?" And she was like, "No." And there were three of us being like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "I don't know. I feel like this is some secret club I didn't know I wasn't a part of." We were like, "Oh my goodness." And it just went to show that, like, it doesn't matter if it's solo or if it's in the bedroom. You never get any ideas or context around like what the possibilities are, except probably from porn, which is like not real life.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I'm not like against porn or anything, but I think that people aren't educated around how that's not real life. And having spoken to lots of sexologists and so on, and even talking about things like we spoke to someone the other day. She said it'll take like 30 to 40 minutes for a woman to become like fully engorged, but you know, before things can actually start happening. It's like, when does that happen in porn? Never. Or, you know, another sexologist said, try having 20 minutes of foreplay, like non-penetrative foreplay, before you even get into that. And it was like, when would you even have that conversation with people or learn that information? Like, there's really no opportunity to learn that unless you go looking for it online, do your own research, and then you also want to feel like you can ask for that, or you want to feel empowered. And in this case, you know, feel part of this community, so you feel like you've got some support and like asking for what you want, because you can't expect someone else to figure that out. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
That was fabulous. Thank you. And I was just thinking from a male point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had feedback from the guys? Yeah.
Oh, I went out in the weekend and I had 4 different people come up to me and say, "Are you Girls Get Off? Oh, we love Girls Get Off." 2 of whom were male. So I think we, because men also want to like pleasure their partners, and that makes everyone feel good. And if they don't feel like they're doing a good job, like they can, you know, if they feel like they can help or they're doing a good job, then that helps everyone. So like, I had one guy said, "Oh my God, I bought it for my partner. Like, it's so great, isn't it? Like, just so fab. Thanks for all that you do." We actually find that of those people who are in couples, a lot of them will actually watch our like Instagram stories together. So we run a segment every Sunday night called Sunday Confessions. People message in, say what they've been up to, and it's so funny. We will find that we'll have, you know, someone will be having sex in the spa one weekend, and then next weekend we've got 3 people doing that. So people are taking like inspiration, and all of a sudden it's not you saying, "Hey, do you want to try this?" and you feel uncomfortable. It's like, "Oh, look at what they're doing." And it's like this external thing of like, "Oh, would you be into that?" So it's like, yeah, it's really, I think from a male's perspective, it can make their job easier. It's more fun. It's something a little bit different, but then also it just, everyone wins.
And it's interesting because I've seen some, I'm just trying to think, no, some comments from women, and they've almost been anti-male and going, "That's cool, I don't need a man now," right? And it's like, and at the time I went, "Ooh, that will be interesting to see how that goes down, whether, you know, or whether they're just, you know, it's a throwaway comment or whatever." And so that was just going through my mind. What I was going to say to your comment before is this is almost anti-porn. This is almost the opposite of porn, isn't it?
I think for your
Not anti, opposite.
Yeah, I think for your first to your first point about anti-male, that's so funny you use that term because again, when we started, we decided we're going to be a real for the gals, that's who we're going to focus on, but that doesn't mean we're going to be anti-male. So it's like you can be positive about one thing but without being anti another. So you'll notice we'll never post anything about vibrators being better than a boyfriend or anything to that narrative, because we want to be allies, and actually our target audience is in a relationship, and we want to be approachable and make everyone feel comfortable on the topic so that males aren't intimidated and actually they say, oh, this is actually pretty cool and will make their sex life better. And to the second part of your question, which I forgot. What was the second part? Oh, it's do you say opposite of porn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I think it is around, education isn't our thing that we're trying to be amazing at, but it's part of, offering value to our audience.
Yours is about intimacy.
It is, yeah.
That's it's not anti-anything. So,
yeah.
I'll take that back. It seems very much around intimacy.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up. We just released a book. I'm getting lots of plugs in on this podcast, aren't I?
You are.
And we called it A Girl's Guide to Getting Off because we thought that's a good title. But what we did is we've done different sections, and they are, it's open. That's a sample, but it's all the content is the same, and so we've got sections on communication, intimacy, foreplay, and then lots of sex positions that you're looking at the back.
And it's very, very pink.
It's very, very pink. Yes, it's all branded colours. And in this situation, again, we wanted something that someone could leave out on their coffee table. Those Vogue coffee table books that people have? We thought, let's do something kind of like that, but we'll make it pink and we'll make it this.
Can I buy this?
Card. Yeah, you can take one from downstairs.
Because seriously, I'm sitting there going, I want to have this in the office. It would be epic.
So we've got a couple of sections on there. We did these guest expert lives with sexologists on Morgan Penn on our Facebook group, and we did one on butt play, one on squirting, and then I think there's a yes, no, maybe list in there, so you can sit down with your partner and separately go through yes, no, maybe around all these different kind of acts and things, and then get together and compile your list again without having to be do you like this? Do you not like this? Or, there's something external to come in there, and again, everyone wins.
Viv, well done. I mean that.
Thanks, Huff.
And it's classic that, and normally these podcasts are a lot longer, but I'm an hour late, and you've got to go out. You've got a social life. I don't, poor bus. But anyway, seriously, the thing that I've said to numerous people, I was nervous about this podcast, that I didn't want to just cock it up somehow. But this has been fun.
Oh, that's great.
I've really enjoyed this.
I hope so. And I think that comes back to our whole thing, right? We're just normalising it because it's something that should be talked about.
Because this has felt very, you're young enough to be my daughter. Yes. And so it's like I'm talking to my daughter about this, and it's very normal.
Yeah, I just think that why not? What is the downside to talking about this normally? There's no downside.
What's it been like talking to me about this?
It doesn't bother me. I sat in a cafe last Friday and I was talking about butt plugs to a girl the same age who owns a sex shop in Auckland, and there was a guy eating his mince on toast next to me. I thought, wow, this guy's... And then a girl at the other table got up and said, "Are you Viv? Thank you for your service." And I'm like, this guy eating his mince on toast, he's just had the full rundown on all these different things that we're looking at, and Ella's talking about how she wants to do more sex shops, and then, this girl's saying, "Thank you for your service." I'm like, he's just had the most interesting mince on toast of his life, I would think. But yeah, so it's just so normal to me, and to the point where sometimes I do think, okay, if I wasn't sitting with Ella, the girl who owns the sex shop, sometimes there's, times to tone it down a little bit depending on who you're with, just in case it makes them feel uncomfortable. But yeah, it's so normal for me, and that's what it should be.
I told you, driving here today, so the reason I was late, there were 3 major pieces of roadworks where I was sitting 20 minutes. there, and it's terrible when you come up to roadworks and the stop going, it goes up and you're first in line and you know you've got a 20-minute wait while they... And so I thought, I'll get out and stretch my legs. So I went round to see the couple of guys there with the stop goes on. So, g'day, fellas. How's it going? Yeah, no, good. And I said, guess where I'm going? You see? Because I thought, and I said, where are you going, bro? And I said, I'm going to Taro. And I said, I'm doing a podcast. Oh, a podcast is cool. I said, I'm going to talk to this young woman about sex toys. And they went, what? It was just made my day. And it was just like, and I know they'll be having a beer somewhere. Go, remember that old fella that came through? Do you think he was taking the piss or not? But I thought I needed to get it out of my system before I got here. Otherwise, I was going to be all silly and jittery. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
But it was just like, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to try it out.
Oh, the reactions are just priceless.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Viv, what have we not covered we need to cover in this very short podcast?
I think we've really... No one's asked me questions as in depth around, the problem and so on before. So I've really appreciated that. That's been good. I don't know whether there's anything that's really missing. I think that it's just an ongoing thing. I think this whole journey has felt like we are constantly changing, quite chaotic, but constantly changing, and it's been good. It's
so going back to
necessary.
Girls and women asking for what they want, wouldn't that be epic if you in your teens could do that?
Yeah, I think it would change the world.
I was just reflecting on that, and I know I went along to a seminar in Auckland. It was a women's conference, and I don't know why, but there was a section on pornography, and I thought, cool, I'm going to go and listen to that. And I felt so challenged by it, listening to these. What are they called? Sexologists?
Yeah, it depends. Yeah,
and they were talking about the harms of young people with pornography and some of the injuries coming through and the whole raft of issues coming through. And I felt really, really sad about that. And then listening to you, and I thought, sex education, we're going back 100 years. My sex education was just, it wasn't education, it was pathetic. But thinking about that, if you could teach teenage, not just girls, but boys, to ask for what you want, that'd be a game changer.
And you're never going to get rid of porn. Stop trying to get rid of it. It's more about education and saying this is, that's a whole different topic. But I actually just quickly saw a Facebook post, and there's not many times where I disagree with everybody on a Facebook thread, but it was a Ministry of Education, and they were talking about how the new porn curriculum or whatever that was going into schools, and the amount of keyboard warriors of parents who were saying this is disgusting, we shouldn't have been talking about it, blah blah blah. And in my head I thought, you have got your head in the sand. If you think your kid can't use your device as better than you can to access porn, they know what a VPN is, or they get around whatever filters you've got on. I think that is just ridiculous to think that it's going to go away or that you can stop it. And actually, is it inherently bad? No, it's what you decide the meaning of that is. And if we can educate people to say that's not real life and that's not where you should be learning these from, then I think that. And
I don't want that. I want that.
Yeah, totally. And watch something ethical, or watch something that's real life, and be aware. Yeah. Aware of that. I think there's actually a guy called Cam Fraser on Instagram. He's like a men's focus sexologist, and he does some really good content around porn, because there's a lot of there's some commentary on the internet, either way, good, bad, whatever. But he sees it more as a tool, and again, it's neither good or bad. But if you have your eyes shut and you think that you feel shame around it, then that can be a problem. And if no one else is talking about the positives, then that's when it gets dangerous.
It's a great big void, isn't it?
Yeah. Everyone's trying to avoid it. Yeah.
Viv, thank you. You've made my day. And good luck for the rest of the journey. I'm really keen to come back when we've got a bit more time.
Anytime, Harv.
And seriously, I wasn't going to mention the butt plugs. There we go. But this has been a fabulous conversation. Thank you, and keep up the good work.
Thanks, Harv. Thanks so much for having me, and I appreciate you braving the roadworks to get here.
I was pretty motivated. Okay, thank you. Thanks for listening in. We're Collective Intelligence, a one-of-a-kind people ecosystem that takes inspiration from Mother Nature. To find out how we reimagine leadership development, visit our website www.collectiveintelligence.co.nz.